Hello, this is Ms. Schrader. Today we are going to continue our discussion on medieval art. My students, you're going to be needing a piece of paper and something to write with. You want to take some notes, and when you're done, you're giving me between 5 and 7 sentences on our subject matter. We're going to be discussing the images of Jesus Christ as depicted during the medieval period. As I've mentioned before, in the medieval period, the Catholic Church was extremely powerful. And so the early people, a lot of the art that they were showing would have been religious art, along with a lot of stuff showing Jesus Christ. The piece you're looking at right now is actually a much later piece. This is Christ Carrying the Cross from 1580 by the artist El Greco. So this is mostly a Renaissance picture, so later than what we are discussing. You can see that it's given a very realistic look. You can see the shadowing in his neck and in his hands. So much more of a Renaissance piece than a medieval piece. Now, this is one of the earliest depictions of Jesus Christ. This is from the Catacomb of Calixtus in Rome. It was done in the 3rd century. It is a fresco. A fresco is when you put plaster on a wall and then you put the paint on the wet plaster. And it is showing Jesus as the Good Shepherd. One of the things I want you to notice is how this version of Jesus doesn't look like the one that we are used to, that we accept. The traditional image of Jesus, as was shown in the El Greco painting that we just looked at, developed over time. Here, his skin looks darker, he doesn't have a beard, and so he looks different. This is another 3rd century image of Jesus. This is the top of a sarcophagus. It's the top of a coffin. And it is showing the adoration of the Magi. And it is from the 3rd century. So you can see on the right side, Mary and the baby Jesus, and the 3 wise men are bringing him gifts. I cannot read Latin, so I don't really know what the message there is. So this is Jesus as the emperor wearing military clothing and crushing the serpent that represents Satan underneath his feet. And they're actually giving us a quote: "I am the way and the truth and the life." This is from John 14:6. This is in Ravenna, which is in northern Italy, and that was a part of the Eastern Roman Empire. This is done in a mosaic style in a church in Ravenna. And so the style is very different. It's also, you can see that Jesus looks extremely different, along with being clean shaven, seeing him as a warrior leader, not something that we normally have. This is referred to as Christ in Majesty. Once again, you see he doesn't have a beard. This is from the 12th century. It is English. It is an illuminated manuscript, so it is a book. The background you can see is mostly gold. He's got angels right to over his shoulders and underneath his feet. There are also some people and some images or animals even further out. And remember, this is a book image, so it would be relatively small. But it's giving an image of Jesus that is not the one that we normally accept today. This is the very famous face part of the Shroud of Turin. This picture, it's a negative taken in 1898 in Turin, in Italy. And the theory is that this is the actual face of Jesus. Whether it is or is not, the Shroud of Turin is a large piece of cloth which is believed to have been wrapped around Jesus' body at the time of his death. And according to the theory, through the power of him being Jesus Christ, his image is seared into the cloth, supposedly. The cloth, the earliest records we have of it run from 1353. And it is believed that after that date, all of the images of Jesus start to look like this. So people thought that Jesus looked one way earlier. They change the way his image looks after they start seeing this image. And suddenly you start to get this type of an image of Jesus Christ, looking more like the shroud type image. This is from a 13th century mosaic in the Hagia Sophia, which is today in Istanbul. And this was done with tiny little pieces of painted clay. This piece is actually from the 15th century. The image of Jesus is on the shield to the guy's right. So we've got a medieval knight bearing an attributed coat of arms based on the Veil of Veronica. So, in other words, they think that the Veil of Veronica is the Shroud of Turin, as it's called today. So, it's based on the Shroud of Turin. So as the years have gone by, this becomes the traditional image of Jesus, light-skinned, light-haired, light-eyed. Most modern historians, however, think he probably looked more like this. Keep in mind, Jesus was a man living in the Middle East. People's skin is darker. Their hair was black or brown. He would have worn a beard. So historians think he probably looked more like this. All right, I need you to know that I am not trying to tell you what Jesus looks like. I'm just trying to show you how he's depicted in art, particularly medieval art. This last piece that we're looking at is the Transfiguration of Jesus by Raphael. It's from 1520. It is a very Renaissance piece. A lot of bright color. You can really see the detail in the clothing and in the muscles of the arms and things like that. So very bright and colorful. My students, you are giving me between 5 and 7 sentences about what you have learned about medieval images of Jesus. Thank you.